I thought it'd be a good time to update you on the FZ6R restoration project. Now, I know a number of you commented and wanted something custom with this bike, and I'm gonna do that, but I just prefer to work with a different bike, engine setup with a parallel twin, perhaps like the Ninja 650 or something like that, for some more aggressive modification ideas that I have. So we're sticking to a stock look, and the body kit has been ordered, and it's on a very slow boat from China, like most things these days. I'll keep you in suspense as to what the finished bike is going to look like and the color scheme overall.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Here it comes.
As far as the mechanical work goes, we've run into a couple of unexpected bumps, nothing too big. The front brake light switch was discovered to be busted, so I found a replacement for it. And despite the bearings not having any play, once the front tire was off, it became evident that the steering stem bearings had something wrong with them. No! Removal and investigation has revealed the ball bearings had corroded into a flat spot and now restrict movement in the cage. The ball bearings had lots of grease on them, but after sitting for a few years, moisture worked its way into one side of the stem, with corrosion as the result. Fortunately, this is not that expensive, another $50 in bearings and $15 for the used brake light switch. In the meantime, I was able to replace the seat cover with a very nice kit from LUIMOTO.com. The kit for both rider and pillion was around $150 Canadian and installed fairly easily. The new covers have cutout sections and dimples to assist with aligning the seat cover. The rear pillion pad, however, gave me the most trouble, as there wasn't any fitted corners to hold the cover in place while you aligned it and stapled it. This meant there was a lot of adjustments, removing staples, reapplying staples, and then repeating to make sure the seat cover looked even and fit right. Up front for the rider, it was pretty straightforward. There are links for the LUIMOTO seat cover in the description if you want to get one for your own bike, and based on the installation, I would recommend them. Also arriving over the past few weeks was the repair and maintenance parts we needed. The front fork seals and bushings replacement was up next. I'm using a Moose Racing seal and dust slider, and my hope is their performance is better than the all-ball seals. This being said, I did run into a problem with one of the seals and had to order a second set, as well as more fork oil since the upper seal spring got kinked during my installation by my seal installation tool on one of the forks. Now, this is totally my fault, since I should have used only the old fork seal to set the new ones in place, like I've done dozens of times before. But I used this add-on to the seal driver, which wound up pinching the seal retaining spring. With new bushings installed and the forks reassembled, they're fitted up to a proper level with 5-weight fork oil, which is what Yamaha calls for in this bike. I think 5 weight's a little bit light, but Yamaha tends to use really light oil based on previous experience with their bikes. I rebuilt a set on an FJR 1300 once, which took 0 weight oil, something I'd never heard of until I actually had to work on that bike. With the front wheel off, it was time to check the wheel bearings and replace the front tire. Although not horrible, the tire was cupped, and was initially what I thought the poor steering response was caused by. I know now that it's a combination of not only the tire, but the steering stem bearings. I bust my own tires using nothing more than some glass cleaner and 3 tire spoons. If you want to learn how to save some money and do this yourself, check out this video, which I demonstrate a bunch of different techniques to get your tires on and off fairly easily. I will also add that the Bridgestone Battle Axe was much easier to install compared to the Metzler tires that I usually work with. The Bridgestone sidewall is much softer and easier to stretch by hand. Now, I'm not really sure what this means to performance, and I do have a set of these Battle Axe tires on my 5th generation Honda BFR and find them quite good. Also installed was the new EBC clutch friction plates and springs. The EBC clutch is a no-nonsense setup, so we can do away with the judder spring and just put the clutch in normally. I did pre-oil the new friction discs before installing them, and the new EBC clutch springs are a bit beefier than the stock ones, so there's a slight increase in grip pressure that's required now. This will translate into better hookups though, and after readjusting the clutch cable for the new plates, the clutch cover can be reinstalled. If you don't know what a judder spring is, or have questions about your clutch setup, or are looking to replace your own clutch, I have videos on these topics, and you can go there and check out some more details. We replaced the spark plugs in the engine, and it was a fairly straightforward job with the exception of this rubber heat water deflector that sits over the cylinder head. Now, if this were a bike I was going to keep, I would have left this rubber pad out, as it seems to restrict airflow to the airbox. Now, it may prevent some heat from the engine and exhaust from getting into the airbox, but when you really need clean airflow at 3/4 plus throttle, this bit of kit I can't help but think would be restricting the flow. At least that's my opinion. And since we don't have a Yamaha engineer in my toolbox, that's what I'm sticking with. It appears the valve cover had been removed and perhaps the valve tolerances checked, since there was some written labeling on the pair inlets indicating which one went on the right and which one went on the left. The spark plugs were also changed by the looks of it to iridium tip plugs. The factory manual does not list iridium plugs as standard, and I'm changing them to regular NGK copper plugs anyways. Why not use iridium replacements? Well, cost is a big factor, since iridium plugs cost 3 to 4 times a regular plug, and the only benefit that I'm aware of is extended life, something that manufacturers discourage owners from benefiting from on a motorcycle. Even a bike like my VFR 800, which comes standard with iridium plugs, the factory service manual still specifies these plugs be changed at regular spark plug intervals. The copper core NGK plugs are equally capable as the iridium plugs, and copper core plugs actually spark cooler and are better for higher compression engines. Iridium plugs claim to be more conductive, but most manufacturers only tout the extended life benefit for their increased costs. Again, this is my opinion. I don't see the benefit of leaving plugs in the bike longer, especially when this is the sort of corrosion that can happen without your knowledge and result in a seized plug in the head. Break one of these guys off in your motor and you are in for some serious hurt. Better to change them regularly, and don't forget a little dielectric grease to ensure the leads come off easily the next time you need them out. Other items I managed to tackle were a new air cleaner, replacing the front damaged timing cover and the rear brake lever, plus flushing the coolant. With still a lot more work to do, like the front brakes, chains, sprockets, plus the final assembly and big reveal, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and check out a host of other videos at Rod Rides and Wrenches. And until next time, be sure to ride safe.